Hi everyone, Erin here. Welcome back to the Impatient DIYer, and if you celebrate, happy Easter. Today I am bringing you a super simple Easter DIY. We're going to be making some foam dice bunnies, and all you need for this is some foam dice from the Dollar Tree. You're going to need some Mod Podge, some white paint, pink paint, black paint, some paint brushes, some felt. I did white bunnies, but if you wanted to do other colors, go for it. I have seen some adorable ones out there if you look on Pinterest. So it's definitely something that you can make your own. I just went simple for this. I think they turned out really cute, and I hope that you guys enjoy this tutorial. Okay, to start out, we're going to need the foam dice from Dollar Tree. You're going to need some Mod Podge of your choice, something to put that in, and a paintbrush. So I first took the Mod Podge, and I am just giving the first 4 sides of the foam dice an even coat. And I'm doing a pretty light coat on all of these 4 sides because I wanted this to dry pretty quickly. I am still impatient, but I have learned a little bit on how to do these dice without making a huge mess. So the lighter the coat that you do, the faster it's going to dry, and also it makes using the heat gun a little bit easier. I also did use the heat gun in between coats of the Mod Podge and the paint, but I found that if you hold it farther away, it won't bubble up like it did with my foam dice marshmallows that I did a tutorial for. So after I did the first 4 sides, you'll see I'm going to be doing the top and the bottom of the dice. And I found that doing things this way allowed me to get all of the sides without making as much of a mess all over my mat, all over my fingers, everything like that. I do prefer to paint instead of using balloons. I don't know why, I just think it gives it a cool little texture and just more fun for me to do. So I gave these 2 coats of the Mod Podge, let it dry, and then we're going to go in with our white paint. Now this is just regular apple barrel white acrylic paint. Pretty sure it's pretty old, but it works for me. So I once again went back through with the first 4 sides, first trying to use a foam brush, decided I hated the foam brush, and I just went with a regular paintbrush that I got from a set at Michael's. Now I like the coverage that these kind of paintbrushes give. I feel like it's not very streaky because it's a soft bristled brush. That being said, I'd recommend not using the Dollar Tree brushes because they're normally pretty hard bristle brushes. These work just fine for me, and I'm pretty sure you could get them at Walmart or anything like that. I would recommend doing some pretty light coats on these and then either letting it air dry or drying with a heat gun from a distance so you don't get any bubbles. I found that if I got the heat gun too close, the paint cracked a little bit, and you'll see that I try and fix that a little bit at the end. There I am with my heat gun. So I ended up doing 3 coats of this white paint, and here you can see I am just looking for the sides where you can see the least amount of the color showing through. Getting my Craft Smart black paint and my Folk Art Baby pink to do the face of this tiny little bunny. So I tried to find the smallest little brush that I could. I do need to get some smaller brushes I found, and you're not going to need a lot of paint here. You can see I am putting like the tiniest dabs of black and pink. It's really all that you're going to need to do the faces. First thing I'm going to do is get the paintbrush and kind of put it into a point, and we're going to do the mouth. And I started with a little straight line in the center, and then I don't know, like half of a circle would probably be the best way to describe the 2 sides of the mouth. Then went in with the whiskers. Oop, dropped my dice. Went in with my whiskers, and I did 3 on each side, 1 angled up, 1 angled in this down, and 1 straight in the center. I did the nose next using another kind of thin, small brush, and this is just an upside down triangle. Tried to round off the edges a little bit on that, and as you can see, I was having a hard time with this little brush. It was just not small enough for what I needed. So I definitely recommend the smallest little detail brushes that you have for this kind of stuff. I wasn't going for perfection with any of this, and I really do like how it turns out in the end. I like how you can kind of see the whiskers aren't like a super, super straight line, or they've kind of got some deviations, which if you don't like, you can always go back in and fix with some white on top once you're done. I did end up doing that a little bit with the eyes and the mouth, but not too much. I was pretty happy with how these two guys looked. You can see they don't look the same, but I think they're both cute. So now we're going to be getting their ears done, and I used white and like a light baby pink felt for this. And I just got these on sale at Joann's. You can get some of the colors at the Dollar Tree. I know they definitely have white. I don't know if they have pink. And I used the side of one of my spools of ribbon to kind of figure out the shape of the ear. And I use like a felt tipped pen that I have that I really like to use to trace on my felt. But you can see here that looks like half of an ear. So any small round object that you have, I feel like a lot of people do have ribbon, so that could work for you, or a small plate or a mug. You could definitely do that. Hang it over the edge, and that gives it like the flat side that you need, and then also the cute curved bunny ears that we're looking for. There you can see. So I did end up kind of testing out how I liked how this looked. I decided I did want it folded in a little bit. So I'm cutting off like just a little bit of both of the bottoms to give it more of the shape that I want. But overall, I think it worked out really, really well. I did want the ears to kind of curve in a little bit, so I could have probably placed my ribbon holder in a little bit better of a spot. So once I had my first one done, I just traced it out 4 more times, and I did do it 4 more times just in case I messed up on cutting any of them out, and or if I got any of my marker on this white, I wanted to make sure that I had a backup. I always do that. I'm a very just in case kind of person, and it ended up working out. I did get 4 that looked super, super cute. Now, once you are done that, you're going to take your pink, and I first just kind of measured how big the pink inside needed to be, decided that was around 1 inch, couldn't find my ruler, so I used my transfer tape for my Cricut, and I knew that that was 1 inch, so I just kind of drew 1 inch straight across. And all I'm going to be doing for this, first I tried to get fancy and cut out, I don't know, a bunny ear shape by freehanding it. I really didn't like how that looked. Yeah, it just wasn't cute to me, but if you wanted to try and do that, go ahead. But I just ended up cutting triangles, and I think it ended up looking really cute. There you can see my little triangle, and it made it a lot easier to cut them all out because I just kind of went from one end of the felt to the other. Sorry about that. So here are my little triangles, and you're going to see I'm going to be using Eileen's tacky glue to actually put these on. I wanted a glue that was going to give it a little bit of stability because the felt that I had was kind of floppy. And Eileen's, when it dries, is a little bit harder. So all I did was I put the glue on the white part of the ear and brush it out with, that's actually one of the brushes that I got from Dollar Tree. It's a harder bristle, so I figured it'd be good for smoothing out this without a lot of the glue like getting stuck in the bristles. And then I just kind of went back in and tacked down any pieces that I need. Nice thing about having a silicone mat is I just used that for my glue instead of kind of putting it in another paint thing, just because at the end of the day, that's less things that I need to clean. I don't know if that makes sense, but it did at the time. So once I had all 4 of those done, I decided I was going to use my heat gun to dry these a little bit. And you're going to see here something interesting happen when I decided to use my heat gun. And at first I like freaked out, but then I got really, really excited by what it ended up doing. So I think it's this one. No, which one is it? Maybe it's the last one. Okay, there you go. It shrunk on me. So you can kind of see there, it's smaller than the rest of them. So now while at first, like, I just looked at it like, oh my gosh. And then I got super excited and chased around my bunny ears, trying to make each of them do the same thing. So it looks from above just like it shrunk, but what it actually did was it kind of curled in on itself. So it made it look like rounded, as opposed to me having to fold it in half or anything like that. So if you come at it straight from above with your heat gun, once it's straight above, you've got to let go of the top or it won't do anything. But it actually looks so cool. They look like shriveled raisins right now from above, but once they're on the actual dice itself, they've got this cute, cool, rounded look, and you can stretch them out. The other thing is, because you're kind of shrinking them, it's making the weave tighter on them, so you have more stability when you go to stand these up. And I decided I was going to try and use Eileen's tacky glue again to stick these on my little guys. The first one stayed really, really well, and I was pumped, and I was like, here we go, we got the answer, this is great. I held it on there for a little bit, and then each one after that stayed like a little bit less. So if you guys have any glue recommendations for something like this, let me know. Like you can see that first one just fell right off. I probably could have used a little bit more Eileen's, but what I ended up doing at the end, just because I wanted these ears to stay on, was I put a little hot glue behind. You'll see here on the first bunny, I go from one end to the other, and I shouldn't have done that because you can see the glue from the front a little bit when you're done. The second one, I just did smaller lines of glue, and that actually ended up turning out super, super cute. So you can see here, let it dry before you try and tip it over, but I felt like this worked out really, really well, and it just kind of gave them a little bit more stability. To hide the hot glue, I did go back through with some white paint just to try and camouflage it the littlest bit, and I feel like that did make it look a little bit nicer, but at the end of the day, I would definitely recommend trying to find a glue that isn't hot glue so you're not going to see it. Now, to add the last level of cuteness to these little guys, I just took some cotton balls and put them in the back to give him his little fluffy cotton ball tail. I really like how this turns out. I showed these to my mom and she said that she wishes the tails were a little bit bigger. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that they should have bigger fluffy tails, or do you think that this is just the right level of cuteness? I would love to know your guys' opinions. I'm happy with them. So here you can see I'm just going back in with that white paint, like I said. Once again, just using my silicone mat because it's the tiniest bit of paint, so it didn't really bother me. There was already paint on the table. You can see that I'm just going over that hot glue to try and help it blend in, I guess, a little bit. I don't know if it did much, but I tried. And then after I did a little bit of painting over the hot glue, you can see a little bit that there are some cracks in the paint from where I got a little bit too close with my hot glue gun. You can see them really well right there. So I found if I just took a really light layer of paint, I could kind of fill in those cracks. Now I always go in the direction that the cracks are going so that I don't have any kind of streaks, but it was super easy to go in and fill those in, and the cracks don't come back after that. So here's the little guys completed. Super excited with these. I hope you guys are too. Here I have them out on a little table by my desk with some carrots I got at Dollar Tree. Okay, everyone, that is that for this super simple tutorial. I hope you guys liked it. If you guys do have any questions about anything that I did, drop a comment below. And as always, I hope to see you guys next time. Bye for now.